Hey guys, first regardsman here. I'm going to be talking about the assault class balance in patch 9.0 once again. Now, a few days ago, I did ask people how they felt about the assault this patch. About 150 people have commented, and personally, I feel like the assault is in a pretty good spot right now. He is significantly stronger against Tyranids and Chaos than he was previously. He actually performs pretty well even in true solo, which is kind of unheard of for this class, especially versus Chaos, which is pretty good spot for him. Not perfect, but we are moving in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Now, the first comment here says, on the right track, but still not enough. I would give it 3 charges instead of 2, give him the same 5% health on Majora's Kill from Vanguard. That would be good, and he still wouldn't be the best class. I don't really agree with giving him 3 charges instead of 2. 2 charges is really more than enough if you're like properly managing your cooldowns, and 3 charges could open up like some absolutely broken combos of like CDR regen on Zealous Blow versus certain hordes, and like stupid amounts of burst damage. Giving him some better CDR perks might be a good idea, but like 3 charges might be a little excessive. But as far as the 5% health on Majora's Kill from Vanguard goes, I do agree with this. So like this perk would be fine on this class now. This isn't even that good on Vanguard anymore because his team perk is so much better, and everyone is taking like Tactical Prowess, Zone of Impact on that class now anyways, so giving this to the signature perk for Assault class and buffing his other one's not a bad idea, so I definitely agree with half of this. Now, this guy says, I didn't know it was possible to feel more crippled with a Jetpack than without one, but here we are. I don't really agree with this at all. Like, I think the Jetpack is a very strong ability as is. It's kind of hard to manage your cooldown sometimes, but that's just part of the like playstyle of the Assault in general, but like it's definitely a very strong power. As someone said in the comments, his main problem is he just slowly dies. Perk from Vanguard that gives you back 5% health from Majora's Kill would be really nice. He feels kind of like a glass cannon, tons of damage, but every mistake you have hits hard. I do agree that like he is kind of hard to play at times for a lot of people. He is kind of railroaded in his perk selection for stuff like armor reinforcement and defense mechanism to like not just get chipped down. But as far as like the perk from Vanguard giving him back 5% for Majora's Kill, I think that would be fine in this class now. I mean, every other melee class is a healing perk. It seems like Saber is really against giving him that healing perk because he does do a ton of damage. But then again, so does Bulwark with the Power Fist, and they're totally fine giving him perks like Overcharge. So I don't think this is like a problem at all. The next guy says, there are 2 general problems with the Assault class right now, that being public perception and scaling. The Assault's core identity comes from its flight, which sucks when that's hampered by a limited number of charges of long-ass cooldowns that really lack the impact swing of the other class abilities. The Heavy always feels like a guy with a big gun regardless of whether Iron Halo is up/down, while the Assault spends most of its time trying to pretend it's a Bulwark without a shield when it can't fly. I don't really agree with this. I think the number of charges is fine, but as far as like the CDs go, like cooldowns, managing your cooldown in this class isn't too hard. Maybe his cooldown perks could use a bit of a rework, especially like the 20% one. That's a little boring, but like Zealous Blow is very strong, Wings of Flame and Commitment are very strong. And as far as the next point he says here, he says the other issue is scaling around ground pound in regards to difficulty. Low mid difficulty usually only requires 1 talent for the 1-hit KO build, where once you get into the higher difficulties, it requires at least half your talent tree for the same effect. I don't really agree with this all that much. I mean, it depends what build you're using. Like, if we're talking about ground pound, which it seems like he is, all you really need is like Precision Strike on top of things like Pride and Duty, which is very easy to pick up on pretty much every build in this game. And if you're not using Pride and Duty or Diligence, you're definitely using a perk like what is it? The Aerial Graze for Wings of Flame. So you really don't need to have the one shot on the ground pound at that point anyways. And Precision Strike is supposed to be the 1-hit KO. And honestly, not one-hitting all the enemies isn't always the worst, because there are times where you can't properly cycle a ground pound with Zealous Blow if you are one-shotting all of the Majoras, because the Majoras will Synapse Burst and kill all of the Minoras that you were trying to cycle off of with Zealous Blow. So it's kind of a negative there. But like honestly, the 1-hit KO builds, I don't think they're that hard to build onto. Maybe Knowledge of the Enemy needs a bit of a rework, but besides that, about it. He says, personally, I like to see them rework Assault where the jump pack dash isn't tied to charges. There's an active way to speed up the charge recharge, and ground pound applies buffs to the Assault for a limited time. The class should be focused towards being extremely strong for limited windows to push that shock trooper feeling. I do agree with this. I think this is actually a cool idea. They have kind of pushed into doing things like this for like after a ground pound. You do get like limited buffs with stuff like Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Wrath is a very fun perk that gives you 30% range damage reduction and no knockback for 15 seconds after ground pounding. It really fits the playstyle of the Assault, and it's really easy to get it on an incredibly long uptime if you manage your charges right. But I'm leaning more into that would be really cool. And honestly, I just wish there were more interesting perks in this game in general. Now, this guy went in on this comment, and he says, your point, you're trying to argue, what you're trying to argue is all over the place. Oh, excuse me. He said, your point you're trying to argue is all over the place and confusing. Are you trying to say he doesn't do enough damage because it's tied to his jump pack, or are you insinuating that Assault should just be reworked? First, I just want to say that if you take the Power Fist with certain perks, you can like one-shot groups of Majoras on absolutely very easily. So the class that does swing a fight pretty hard. The Hammer with Jetpack also can get like 3 to 4 jumps off when a horde rolls in and you just start melting Majoras everywhere. What more do you want? Unlimited jumps? I honestly, this is kind of the take I do feel from some people, is that they do just want like an absurdly forgiving jump pack. But like if the jump pack is as forgiving as some people want it, it will just be broken. It's like, that is true. There is a balance to the game, but it could be a little bit better with some of the cooldown perks. I barely played Assault before 9.0 because it was so trash, but it's now in a real nice spot with multiple build options to build for survival or damage or crowd control, whatever. So I don't think it needs a rework for balance purposes. Maybe a better team and signature perk, but that's it. I think this is definitely true. Team perks for this class are very boring, and signature perks are like 90% stupid, or like some of them are good, but they're very, very boring. He says, I do agree the class does need some signature weapon because the Bulwark literally has everything the Assault does, but it's just better equipped to handle anything that is thrown at it. This is true. Bulwark is a broken class in this game, but like, I mean, Bulwark's better than pretty much every class but heavy anyways. That's not saying much. But like, I do agree with both their points here. They do bring up interesting ideas. I definitely agree that like having it feel more like a shock troop would be cool, and also having it reworked with like signature perks and stuff like that's not a bad idea. So definitely true. This guy says, fine, still balancing around a spreadsheet at the end of the day because they don't play the game. It does kind of feel like that sometimes. The perks, they change. So say like in the instance of Retribution, which was the previous perk before Defense Mechanism, which is now the Advanced Conditioning perk, just moved on to the Assault tree and replacing the Retribution perk. Like that was probably the least picked perk in the entire game, so I just decided to like, you know, swap it out. And same thing with Hammer of Wrath. Hammer of Wrath was like the least picked perk in that side of the tree, so they just swapped out something else and buffed it. So like it seems like they are looking at a spreadsheet more like actual balance at times, but the buffs they did are still strong, though it does kind of feel like you are railroaded a little bit in your build selection. This guy said that I think the 50% contested health recovery improved him a lot. He just needs better team perks. I think we'll be in a good spot. I do like this new perk they put on him. My only problem with it is that it is so good that it kind of railroads him to what builds he wants to take, because we're trying to like live with slower weapons in the game. You're pretty much always going to be taking this perk, and they could just have a lot more interesting options in the game in general, in my opinion. Now, next guy says, hear me out. I have a few ideas. Jump pack dash is not a consumability charge. It basically turn all dodges into jump pack dash and PvE with trait. You don't want all dodges to be a jump pack dash because sometimes you don't want to move that far away from an enemy. I see a lot of people say this, but like it's really not something you actually want in the game. Or recharge jetpack on perfect dodge / block / parry, not just a jetpack dodge, or a self heal on slams and melee executes on Majora's Plus. People are really all about self healing in this game, but like I'd rather have armor regen because armor is worth more than HP in this game to begin with, because it has damage caps that health does not. But like having some interesting effects on the ground pound would be cool. I take all three or any combination of them. All right, interesting take there. I've been an Assault main since day one. Not saying this makes my opinion mean more than anyone else's. I just wanted to express that the class means a lot to me. The changes are a solid step in the right direction. However, they need to keep going. Assault signature perks are terrible for the most part, and a personal gripe of mine is that the Power Fist does everything the Thunder Hammer does, but better. Once they fix those two things, I think it will finally be solid. I do agree, the Thunder Hammer does not feel as rewarding as it should for how hard it is to pull off an Aftershock 2. Aftershock is significantly harder to pull off than a thrust jab on the Power Fist. Power Fist is just way better. Thunder Hammer is a very hard weapon to use, probably the hardest weapon to use in the game, period. So it should have way more reward for damage. It should hit more guys. Like the block Thunder Hammer is really, really strong now, but like more stagger on this thing would do a lot for it. And there's just a lot of things in this game that interrupt you. Like Minora's enemies, they sometimes do like their little parry thing that you have to like just grab no matter what, and I'll just move you out of your Aftershock, and that's very obnoxious. Like having an attack in a game that forces you to move when you have charge attacks is incredibly annoying, and usually the way a game will be able to like circumvent that is by hyper armor and stuff like that. But the Thunder Hammer, it just doesn't have like true hyper armor. So like they gave it better stagger resist or staggering attacks, I think that'd be a great improvement, or armor regen. Now, next guy says, I'm reposting my own comment here from the other video I comment on. Someone tell Saber to A, remove Unyielding Oath and replace it with perk that restores ability charge by 5% with every perfect parry, block, or dodge. That would be busted. And like Unyielding Oath is already pretty strong. But B, rework Zealous Blow to also grant 0.2 armor for every enemy killed with ground pound, or killing 5 enemies at ground pound restores 1 armor. Zealous Blow is already incredibly powerful, and you are also like immortal once you land on your ground pound now. Like you have invincibility frames and you're the entire time, so I really think that's a big issue. C, remove Commendation. True, I don't even care what the next part is. It's just a true statement here. And add the melee kills of Majoras and higher level enemies, restore 1 magazine to the secondary weapon. Cooldown is 30 seconds. I don't even think it should have a cooldown. Just have it just be like the Okay, actually, if it's Majora's for higher level enemies, it should have a cooldown. But yeah, I definitely agree with this. He could use some ammo restore because the Assault class is absolutely terrible for ammo economy in this game. It is horrific currently. He's like one of the only classes besides Vanguard that's just like hurting for ammo all the time. But Vanguard also has like a fucking primary, so he's not hurting as much. And if they really feel like it, allow Assault to use audible rifle, just a maybe, but not necessarily, just to have fun. With those changes, we can maybe start using the Assault as a shock trooper without feeling jaded. I don't really know if I agree with the first part for like Zealous Blow and Unyielding Oath, but I definitely agree he should get like some magazine restoration. That's definitely true. And Commendation is a fucking terrible perk, so reworking that's not a bad idea at all. So I definitely agree part of this. Give him health regen makes no sense. A Vanguard has 2 ways to regen health, but he can rely on long range damage, but Assault can't even get ammo regen with just a sidearm. He should get ammo regen. I'm not really against him getting health regen as long as it's not like too broken, but health regen in this game is very strong, but also every class that's melee in this game already has health regen, so like clearly it's something they've already done. It definitely feels better and performs better, but I would still like a jump pack rework, more akin to PvP, 3 charges, hover, and way faster recharge. Like, as way faster recharge on the jump pack would make it broken. Like, I don't think some people like fully understand how broken 3 charges would be at times with like precision strike and stuff like that, and adrenaline surge charges. You would like damn near one-shot bosses on an Auspex. I mean, hell, you already do with like one power fist thrust jab, but like precision strike, one-shotting guys, if you had it like as fast of a recharge as the PvP, you would just go around killing everything on the map casually with like 0 effort. Fix melee CHP regeneration. That fixed a lot of grief. A good point, Sturm. Melee CHP regen in this game actually has a cap for those of you who are unaware, which is why the Aftershock improved second hit gives you back 0 CHP recovery. This is actually like the #1 thing hurting the melee classes in this game, is that melee CHP regen sucks ass compared to the ranged CHP regen. This is like a good point. He also says adjust jetpack energy consumption. Dodge shouldn't consume the same amount as a ground pound. Very true, because if you happen to miss a jump pack dash dodge, even with your commitment perk, you're just kind of screwed. You're out of ground pound. That's kind of insane. Ground pound should consume energy in parts, not just at the moment of taking off. Give him a primary when using certain melee weapons, please. I think that giving him a primary would be pretty cool in this game. I don't even think it would break him, because we have a ton of melee classes that could benefit from primaries, and Bulwark makes sense because Bulwark has a fucking shield in this game, but I'm giving him a primary, especially for like a hover, would be pretty neat. As far as ground pound only consuming energy in parts, that's a cool idea. Like, I do think that like 2 charges is good, but ground pound as an ability could have more interesting CD options. Please rework squad cohesion and make it refund based both on make its refund based on both regular and jetpack perfect dodges. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool if that was how the team perk worked. It's just like a pure CDR perk, but CDR in this game is very, very strong, and this squad cohesion is a team perk, so they've had to like make it work for everybody, and not everybody has a jump pack or like a jetpack perfect dodge. Please rework strategic strikes to include effective formation from the Bulwark, so it's actually a team perk. Finally, revert proven efficiency damage. Nerf, let me one-shot Rubric Marines already. Yeah, I definitely agree that like proven efficiency used to be 50% damage to your gun strikes, now it's only 30%, and I don't really see the point for that nerf at all. I think the only reason they did that, guys, is because they didn't want you one-shotting the Zoanthropes off of like your jetpack dash or stuff like that, or like damn near one-shotting them. It's a really stupid reason. I don't know why they nerfed that perk. And as far as like the strategic strikes go, I do hope his perks get way more interesting team effects, because his team perks are very lacking compared to things like Inner Fire, Unmasked Zeal, Encompassing Aegis. Proven Efficiency is probably the best one, but like really all of them should be that effective. And things like melee damage for your whole team don't do jack shit for classes like a heavy, or even like the like a tactical is built for like non-melee damage. Not really tactical's a bad example, but like some classes in this game like sniper are always meleeing depending on how you're playing, so giving it something that's like more effective for everybody, like Encompassing Aegis, would be pretty cool. He also says please make Smiting Angel, Pride and Duty, and Diligence to do something else. We don't need 4 perks all doing the same thing. I suggest making perks that can buff the team or debuff enemies. Yeah, Smiting Angel, Pride and Duty, and Diligence all just give your ground pound more damage. I feel like they should just be built into the class perk tree in different ways, or maybe just like combined together, or just like, you know, really all you need is one of these, to be honest. Just like make one perk like a 50% buff and the other one's 100% buff, reduce radius, and then like have the other ones be more interesting. Signatures need to be reworked, true. Ample reload feels gimped, absolutely true. If only we had a primary, and if the buff lasted longer, Ascension shouldn't detonate barrels, very true. This is like the worst reason ever to take Ascension, is because it will just blow you up if you're next to a barrel, and it should also have some debuffing or buffing effects to you and the team's hit by it. Commitment should be a passive and be reworked to do something else. Yes, commitment should be a passive, and the signature perks need to be reworked, very true. Also, give the Assaulty Knife on my White Scarf a matching knife. I mean, that's a fair enough reason. He does have the champion skin after all. I think these are all pretty good options. I don't necessarily agree with like some of these, for like the rework of squad cohesion to work around Jetpack dash, but Jetpack perfect dodges, but everything else I definitely agree with. The only useful new perk to me is the slow fade of contested health. However, I used to play with the blocking hammer, and the speed nerf is too much. I don't think the blocking hammer speed nerf is bad at all, because the speed nerf only affects the ground slam and the light attack combo, which already kind of suck on this weapon to begin with. Well, like the ground slam's okay, but like for the most part, pommel smash, aftershock, and things like that are all you're really using on the thunder hammer anyways, especially if you're doing things with like adrenaline surge charges, and especially on the assault class for thunder hammer. It's just like a ground pound tool, so I don't really think it's that big of an issue. But yeah, the slow fade of contested health is very useful. The Hammer of Wrath is also very powerful, and also the buff to Smiting Angel. Assault finally becomes as lore accurate as Space Marine should be. Jump pack for pound, not for dodge. A coward will do. That's kind of funny, but yeah. Saber, just make the goddamn class the same as in the campaign. Is this too much to ask? I would like the campaign jump pack hover. It might be awkward in like small corridors, but the jump pack does like to bug out anyways. I think the main reason they don't do this is because it's very easier to like accidentally get yourself outside the map with like the campaign jump pack, or whether there's some terrain issue. But either way, I am curious to see what they'll do to the campaign jump pack at one point, because they did mention they might like fix this or something. It needs lightning claws for fast, powerful attacks. A dash recharge should be a passive. Health regen perk. His dash melee attack should be buffed to 200% damage for an AoE like ground pound, but more focused. Vanguard's 5% for him would be good. Should be able to hover in the air, and ground pound needs a faster recharge. I can definitely agree that like ground pound could have better CD perks, or CDR perks. As far as being able to hover in the air, I also agree with this, and 5% HP for him would be pretty cool. But as far as the like running attack goes for him, yeah, his dash attack sucks, and it's also in the same tree as the overcharge perk and armor reinforcement. So you should pretty much never take that stupid garbage like rushing attack ever. It is trash. It's a trash perk on the bulwark half the time. It only works on him because he has like 4 things to proc off of like the pommel smash, and on the assault you're just getting like bonus damage on a dash attack. Like what do you fucking do? So a pretty garbage idea they had there. Main issue I have with the class is Jetpack should be able to cancel everything such as parry buttons, and you should have the invulnerability frame since frame 1. I can agree with this. Like having him have like an instantaneous cancel by using his jump pack would be amazing. Like Bulwark has a shield to animation cancel whatever he wants with 0 cooldown. Making his ground pound do this or his jump pack dash do this is not a bad idea at all. I think that'd be really cool. And also, if they didn't give him like a better cooldown on the commitment perk and stuff like that, it would make using your jump pack dash way more like life saving at times, especially for like the slow weapons in this game, because Thunder Hammer sucks ass for like getting caught by unblockables at times. You'll get frame trapped, and having an option to break your animation without like a parry and getting stuck in something else slightly slower would be pretty epic. It's actually a great idea, to be honest with that one heart. Definitely feels better, but still far from being fixed. I think he's definitely fixed for the most part. He just needs a few tweaks, but you can always like have more improvement. Like I said before, my main issue with him is that he's very railroaded into the builds he can use, especially versus Chaos, and that's not very fun. But he also benefited a lot off of the buffed melee weapons in the game at this patch, so he's a lot better than just like the perk buffs he got. If they put the 50% fade contested health and the prestige perk, it'll be better, but I guess we got something. It is kind of annoying that like to take this perk you have to give up equipment recharge and auxiliary arsenal, but those perks are also very strong. But the 50% fade to contested health is just too damn good in my opinion. Next guy says, Assault already good enough, though the one that had to change is the Bulwark perk. Focus Strength is so underrated. They should change to regen when below 30%. So we're talking about the Bulwark perk here. This class has always seemed like a joke. No shield, no primary, no heavy, and a big spot on your screen. I mean, he has serious Nova damage and serious AoE clear, so like I don't think it's a joke at all. Still absolutely insufferable to use against Chaos. I don't think he's bad against Chaos whatsoever anymore. Even like I took him to with a Power Fist, or like not Power Fist, a Power Sword versus Triple Hellbrutes, and yeah, it was hard. But like versus normal Chaos, it is very difficult to die now with Hammer of Wrath, plus the contested health fade and the new plasma pistol buff. So I don't really think he's that bad against Chaos at all anymore. He's actually very strong. In fact, you can like first try True Solo Reliquary and first try Fall of Atreus once you know how to play the class pretty well, and he's just fucking strong now. He's kind of railroaded in the ability choice you get for that, but definitely powerful. I won't be happy until they change his jetpack. I mean, I think the jetpack's pretty fine for the most part. But thank God they gave him survivability. In my opinion, all he needs is faster ability cooldown. I can definitely see this. Also, ammo regen. It's definitely a promising start. The prestige perk for the damage negation while charging his slam solved one of my biggest gripes of the assault. This is true, like Unyielding Oath is a very, very good perk, especially on top of the invulnerability you have on the landing now. The slower CHP drain is one is great, but it should definitely be in a different slot that doesn't require you to give something as important as grenade regen. I can definitely agree with that. It should be like moved somewhere else maybe. I'd say the only thing Assault needs is better CHP regen at a proportional level to the damage being dealt. This is definitely true for melee weapons. He says this could be a change across the board. I think it should be. I 100% agree with this. CHP regen for melee weapons, like I mentioned earlier, is awful, and them fixing that would do a lot for this game. They say a way to regenerate ammo like auxiliary reload, also agree with this, and potentially another jump pack charge and or a way to use it similarly to the way it works in PP or PvE. I don't really agree with another jump pack charge, but more CDR perks for sure, because the issue I have with three jump pack charges is if you have Zealous Blow, when you have 3 charges Precision Strike, you can just bop an entire field of guys, and there's practically nothing they can do. The mobility you get off a jump pack is kind of absurd, incredibly valuable for getting away from bosses and things like that, and the fact that you were able to cycle back into it is already very strong, and 3 would make that incredibly easy. Love both, although Siege needs more polish at matchmaking. I think this guy's referring to the other post I made. Man, I've been dashing around with the power sword, feeling like a son of the Khan. That's really to give him the awesome White Scar champion skins. That's good. This guy's having fun. That's better for sure, but I'll see a reduced cooldown on using a jump pack charge on a dodge. This is definitely true. Stern brought this up as well. Definitely not a bad change idea whatsoever. I like it. I feel like the changes improve both the ground pound and dash build, and most importantly, my favorite class feels fun to play again. That being said, Saber releasing a completely non-functional perk is very on brand for both the devs and the assault class. This is true. They gave him the Bulwarks perk, and it currently only works for like the dash attack on the Thunderhammer, and honestly, it's a shit perk for assault anyways, so I don't even know why they put it there, and it's in a tree that has way better options than it always will, so it should be reworked again, in my opinion. I still think, in my opinion, he's a jump pack from story mode, not one for one, but similar, and give him an extra charge. Again, I don't really agree with the extra charge part, but like giving him a hover would not be a bad idea. It just gives Vanguards 5% health off of Majora's Kill. I'm pretty sure it'd be golden, but he already has damage reduction, thank God, and he generally hits hard enough, so damage-wise, it's fine. The jump pack, though, that's a whole other beast. I think the jump pack is fine, but yeah, the damage reduction is amazing on him. A 5% healing off Majora's would not be bad either. Slightly better now, but he still requires something to buff his range and survivability. I don't think he does at all. I think his survivability and range is fine. The block power fist build just feels so right to use. Actually, I should mention up here, his ranged and survivability is fine, but you are kind of forced to like go down one path for it, so this kind of suck. The block power fist build just feels so right to use, make the assault really fun to use in operation, especially the tactical with the Auspex. Yeah, tactical with Auspex nukes bosses with a power fist, even without the block. It's getting there. If he had ammo or health regen, he'd be unstoppable. True. It feels good. I was finally able to play past wave 18 without disconnects. This is like a what do you call it? A victory in itself. And the assault is not perfect, but playable. We survived 2 in a row until wave 28 and 29. Yeah, he's definitely way stronger now. He can actually push past wave 25 quite easily now compared to where he used to be, and he's a lot of fun to play because that damage reduction really did change his entire playstyle quite a bit. I think the assault, also the plasma pistol buff, his rate of fire gave him CHP back a lot more. I think the assault is good now, it resists a little bit more, but it still feels very weak compared to other classes, and also that one of his past survivals is in the same line as 100% more damage in the fall. It seems very bad to me that even, wait, so he says here, this is, am I reading this right? He says, I think the assault is good now, I think the assault is good now. It resists a little more, but it still feels very weak. Okay, you just missed a comma here compared to other classes, and also that one of his passive survival is in the same line as 100% more damage in the fall. I think he's talking about ground pound, and seems very bad to me. Even so, I think they can improve it even with the new enemies of Chaos. It seems to me that it will not be so good against Chaos. I mean, he's already good against Chaos now, and when Chaos has more melee guys, he'll be that much stronger. They are going to be changing the composition of Chaos, and what they mean by that, I assume, is like adding in the Chaos spawn, and Chaos spawn will have 3 variants, and they're going to be a Majora's, so they'll be far more prevalent, and you'll see fewer Zangors and fewer River Marines as a result, so hopefully like a melee guy. So like, I imagine all classes will have an easier time versus Chaos at that point. This guy also says, now that he's in a better place, I can look forward to the power axe that's really become Dante. Yeah, Dante is a beast. Good direction, but some buffs for the jetpack dash, lower charge consumption, and better team perks would still be nice to have. I ran a lethal, no problem with the power fist. That's never happened at my skill level before. I'm loving it. Yeah, all the melee buffs are definitely amazing. Raven Guard, ground pound, go burr. I haven't been playing Raven Guard recently, so I definitely get this for sure. I'm glad I waited with leveling it until now. Together with the balanced melee buffs, it's actually fun to play with pretty much all the weapons, especially the fast balance hammer. It feels god tier in Assault now. What's still annoying is how limited the jump pack is, charging too slow or too little charges, and it flies so low you barely feel like you have a freaking jump pack on you. It should fly much higher and farther, and sometimes it doesn't even trigger when I smash the button depending where you're standing. To actually get like a good distance on the jump pack, you just have to aim your camera to like wherever like the little orange circle is. That is where you will go like at maximum. So if you put it down close to you, you're not going to go very far at all. But if you go like further out, you're going to go very high and very far, and you can go back in. So that's like a little bit of a tech with him. But as far as like the balance hammer goes, yeah, he is way stronger now, and the melee buffs did a lot for him. Not enough. There was two options. They can improve even more melee and flight damage with additional use of the jetpack, or it's going to the ability to heal with melee executions. I think this is fine, but again, additional use of jump pack would be pretty OP. And having two options, this is a big problem for a lot of the classes in the game, that there aren't a lot of build options because you're kind of railroaded into like one perk selection. He feels great, a big improvement, but I feel like there's still something that can be improved. This is definitely true. I don't know. I'd like if he had any kind of ammo regen, perhaps something like kill X amount of enemies with ground pound to get one magazine back, cooldown 90 seconds. Yeah, ammo regen is very important for this guy. I definitely agree with this comment. Give him a heart. Assault is doing great right now. I do wish I wouldn't have to give up make or break damage perks for that extra range damage reduction though. Yeah, that is true. Like the Hammer of Wrath is so good that losing out on the ground pound does kind of suck. But like part of this is that the skill trees in this game are very boring in general, and they could use like a bit of a rework, or maybe like even extra rows. Like not extra rows for the actual perk trees, like not like giving you more perks overall, but like giving you more options, like you know, a fourth row down the line, if that makes sense. Other than that, give him some ammo regen. He's golden, more than golden actually. Yeah, ammo regen definitely fixes a lot of this guy. He needs ammo regen, a better signature perk or rework. The class also needs a unique weapon since every other class just gets his now. This is true. He did kind of get robbed of his heavy bolt pistol. I'm kind of shocked they ever did that, to be honest. This guy also says, I would also shuffle some of his perk trees around. Somehow it just feels bad being forced to take some perks over others. In fact, just open up the entire perk tree and let's pick whatever the hell we want. This is not the worst idea ever. It would be kind of interesting if this game gave you like, you know, some perks cost you more points overall, and you can like select whichever ones you want, but like some of them is worth more than others. That'd be cool to make like some really interesting builds, but for now we're stuck with what we have. I'd say damage wise he's in a real good spot right now. Survivability is pretty good, especially if you take perfect parry. Weapons with armor back on gunstrike, really good. I'd say it's the fourth best class. Attack, heavy, and bulwark are just too strong and synergistic to beat out. I definitely agree with this. I would put this class like above. I put him in A tier. Currently, he's very strong. I don't know if I'd say he's over Sniper, because Sniper can be invulnerable the entire time, but he is very, very powerful. I think it's better than it's been, but not perfect, making it a great class to play on occasion. I do, however, work 6 days a week, and I appreciate that I may find things in this game more palatable than the sweatiest of the player base. I don't think he's that bad, and he's fun to play, and he's also just way better than he's ever been. Finally, Assault is good again. Assault is definitely good again. I'm torn. The two defensive buffs are great on paper, but are in the worst possible columns. 50% contested health decay is exactly what the class needs, but costs you either range damage or equipment refresh. It's really not that bad of a trade-off, to be honest. Like I take it all the time now, and I don't really miss the equipment charge or range damage whatsoever. Less range damage and hyper armor comes at the cost. Precision strike is only worth taking on a dash build. I don't really agree with that necessarily. Like it's totally like Hammer of Wrath is still very good and worth giving up. As far as melee is concerned, the increased damage for all of them feels great. I haven't run Chain Sword, but I have run Block Hammer, Balance Hammer, Block Fist, and Balance Strength Power Sword. All of them feel great to use if handled properly. Yeah, I've run them all at this point. Even the Block Power Sword, they're all very strong. Block weapons will have their speed buffed at some point. That will be pretty cool because they're definitely doing that. So Block is only up from here, and right now it's still pretty strong. Hopefully they don't change the damage on them because I kind of like where their damage is at, but we'll see what they do. For the guns, I think Assault keeps better ammo economy still, definitely true. Throws and Disc Shamans suck to fight, especially when true solo, 100% true. Overall, it feels better, but it's still business as usual. Strong against Nids, bad against Thousand Suns. I don't agree with this at all. I think he's very strong against Thousand Suns, and you can first try them even in true solo, and like even triple Hellbrood's pretty easy to first try now with this build. This one changed until they rebalance the Chaos faction, which seems to be coming in patch 10. Yeah, no, he's actually very strong against Thousand Suns now. Like he is very, very strong with all the range damage perks and the Power Fist, and even like Thunderhammer can wipe them pretty easily. The only thing he struggles with is like boss fights versus Hellbrood, but that's like 90% of classes in this game. So like he can actually wipe the Chaos faction quite easily on his own. I like it. Melee seems more dangerous. Melee is definitely more dangerous for all the classes. Survivability is really his only issue. Eating any sort of ranged chip damage just slowly wears him out throughout the mission because he doesn't have many options for armor regen or HP on Majora's Kill, like many people have said. He has the armor reinforcement perk, which is incredible if you perfect dodge properly, and also you have range damage reduction on Hammer of Wrath, and range damage reduction from Hammer of Wrath also stacks with armor regen to give you back your, to give you damage reduction on the armor instead of just your HP, because it does affect that. And also armor regen that you get off of executes, and a lot of his stuff can hit break points now, so I don't think it's too bad. It is hard to play, but it's not too bad. I love it. That's why this guy loves it. He's still not reworked. What he does, everyone else does better. What he doesn't do, everyone else can do. This is not true. He does, like, he can move away from things like triple halberds better than any class in this game. He's able to get out of situations better than any class in this game. Sort of like maybe Vanguard with the grapnel, but Vanguard kind of has to like waste a charge, potentially get no CDR back to do that. But he's one of the best classes in this game for mobility, especially for things like commitment. Wiping out triple card effects if they charge you is actually really easy with stuff. So like, I don't really agree with this part at all. He is definitely good at some things other classes aren't, and he also has a lot of benefits on top of that. Like, it doesn't have to be the best at everything if he's pretty good at a lot of things, and right now he's pretty good at all content in the game. Better, but it still needs some more love from the devs, whether it comes as self-sustained or some kind of team perk that makes Assault more of a viable pick. Yeah, his team perks definitely need a rework. Oh, right, there's an Assault class. I forgot. I don't know. Played last 10 days, only other classes. All right, well, this guy just didn't play the Assault class. It's better, but work still needs to be done. Maybe the class specifically needs to gain a slightly higher CHP on melee and tweak it from there if they aren't going to give him a primary. Yeah, giving him a primary is not a bad idea. He's definitely in a better state, but even with the contested health perk, he still has the same issue of when that contested health is gone, it's still just a slow crawl towards death, and the only saving grace being its stim. I mean, this is true for like over half the classes in this game. Vanguard heals on execution, Bulwark gets full contested health in every banner, Assault has to fight like a full-blown demon just to do the same thing the others do. Yeah, I mean, in the case of Vanguard's like actual AoE and mobility is not as good as the Assault's is, and like his all of his Nova damage comes from things like Zone of Impact, which is super buggy in itself. And Assault kind of just gets to blow through guys. And Assault also has armor reinforcement that Vanguard does not, but Vanguard also does have really good procedure works for armor regen. I'm not against giving him like HP recovery, but it's really not that big of an issue on Assault at all. And like using like 2 or 3 stims a game. Like I've had matches where I had 36 Extremis against me, or like first tried Reliquary. It's really not that hard in the Assault right now with the proper setups, because he has so much damage reduction and the CHP recovery is very easy to get back with the slower fade perk. So I really don't think it's that big of an issue. It is hard to play, but you know, if you practice more, you'll just be able to do it. At this point, it's more of a fault of the decision to have the heal and execution from Space Marine 1 away and have it be part of the Vanguard identity. At this point, the devs have to realize that they've already admitted that giving Bulwark contested health in the banner was a mistake after all. I mean, it's true, healing in this game is pretty OP. Like, I really think that like most of the classes don't need healing as much as they need damage reduction and armor, because armor is worth more than HP in this game, especially if you have perks that are like range damage reduction on top of stuff like conviction. I'll say that the Assault could definitely benefit from having the conviction perk, because like 4 out of 6 of the classes already have it, and that would do a lot for him because it's like an S tier perk already for damage reduction. But damage reduction overall I think is far better in this game than like pure healing. But I digress. It's better now, but Assault remains the only melee class that doesn't have a way to get back health. He lost. He's still the most likely to be the guy eating all the stims. I mean, that is true, but like the healing perks in this game are already pretty busted, if I'm being honest. Well, today I played as an Assault class from my own chapter, and it was funny. In normal difficulty, fight with 3 Hellbirds and 3 Carnifexes is still hard, but more possible than before. Yeah, 3 Hellbirds are definitely possible now in him, even solo. I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't mind the 5% regen perk and the 3% regen perk for this class. Yeah, I think most people would like a little bit of healing. He who giveth, he who taketh away. I'm never taking that minus 50% contested health decay perk off, I swear. Yeah, this is my problem with this, is that it's so good with the rate of fire plasma pistol that you're pretty much never going to not use it. You're pretty much picking one build decision every single time, especially versus Chaos. I'm still waiting for the rework of special perks. Those on the right, they feel pretty bad to me. The jump pack remains far worse than its counterpart in Space Marine 1. It's frustrating as hell. Stop balancing around spreadsheets, PvEs, and competitive. Stop balancing it like this. I mean, you want to have balance. It doesn't really matter if PvE is in competitive. Like, you don't, like, at a certain point, if you don't properly balance your game, it's going to be impossible to like balance the highest difficulties, because you're going to get like enormous power creep like you have in Darktide, or to make the game difficult, you're going to have Havoc 40 send a bajillion enemies at you, or just be like something completely without like outside the realm of the game's combat system. So balancing around spreadsheets is bad, but this idea that like PvE games shouldn't have any balancing is not true at all. And as far as the Space Marine 1 jetpack being better, I mean, it was, but the jump pack is still very good in this game. To be honest, very good. It was already good versus Tyranids. Now it's just OP. I removed all the fun of my friend in Operation because I one-shot all Majoris. Yeah, Precision Strike is very strong for that. Now it can play Chaos Operation without being a practice target. Actually, it might be able to one-shot the Rubric Marines without Precision Strike now, with us fighting Angel and Pride and Duty on the right weapon. I'll have to actually check that, though. For Siege, though, I just went to wave 15 hard and stopped there, but it looks totally fine for wave 20. But I'm not the top player going for the wave 30 plus. He can definitely go past 25. Definitely now. He's very, very strong. Awesome, enjoying it. The hammer needs love. Hammer's pretty strong. Could definitely use the better CHP regen. And stagger. I've gone from being a monster if I took the sword to finally being a nuke when I break out the truck on a stick. Yeah, that's pretty funny comment right here. It's all right. I just wish that when they buff things and they make it more interesting so the percentage increase on your damage. 100% agree with this. The perk choices in this game are quite boring. They don't really seem to know how to make interesting perks for the most part. I just don't understand the dev's way of thinking. The purpose of an Assault Marines is to be the highly mobile, heavy hitter of the Astartes, and this class is neither in Ops or Siege. He is definitely heavy hitting. You can one-shot guys from like a mile away just by landing on them, and like entire groups of them too, so definitely fits that to a certain point. Maybe a CDR isn't quite enough, though. I was shocked how highly mobile and how frequently you can get Jetpack back when trying Space Marine 1 multiplayer such as Exterminatus for the first time recently. It showed me although you were highly mobile, you were not invincible since the orcs could still kill you if you weren't paying attention. I didn't play that much of the Exterminatus in Space Marine 1, but like, you know, we are like 10 years later at this point. I don't think the balance of Space Marine 2 is that bad, and when I did play the Space Marine 1, I thought the game was a little easy, to be honest. If they are so obsessed with balancing, they can introduce enemies that can punish the assault if you stay in the sky too long, but would that be necessary anyways? I mean, they already exist, and the game is pretty balanced for the Jetpack as far as I'm concerned. Maybe some CDR perks would be good. He needs auxiliary reload somewhere in his normal perk tree or prestige perk. He has no ammo generation, which automatically makes him a bad pick for siege because he needs to keep buying ammo. He's great for absolute ops though, and I'd argue he's better than Vanguard now. People don't think Vanguard is bad because he's a ton of healing, but Vanguard is actually the weakest class because he just lacks damage perks everywhere while also lacking ammo regeneration. This is true. Vanguard's damage does kind of suck outside of perks like Zone of Impact, and that bugs out all the time. I would probably put the Assault class over Vanguard now because, I mean, he just does more, if we're being honest, and he has way more damage. I mean, Vanguard's way more forgiving, but Assault, when played well, can just do more, and he has way more Nova damage. But Vanguard's still pretty strong. And as far as like ammo regen goes, I definitely agree with that. Would like to play some, but still crashing on Xbox Series X. Well, maybe September update will finally fix it. Sucks to hear that, dude. Initially, I hated it after reading the patch notes. After having played it, the changes are enjoyable. Agree, it still has some room for improvement, but I'm surprised to see how tanky they can be. I'm personally having a blast with the balanced Thunderhammer and the contested health perk. Yeah, Fist is better, but Hammer is still viable and fun. Yeah, Hammer could use some buffs, but it's definitely viable and fun. It is strong. It's one of my favorite weapons on the class, period. I'd still put it in like B tier, but it's definitely good for what it is. Decent, we can do better. Big commitment into the class. Oh my god, this guy gave me a dissertation. At least he spread out the actual little comments here. Change ability charge rate to match the campaign / PvP. Fuck no, dude, this BOP. Get rid of useless perks like Winged Fury, Active Attrition. I kind of agree with this. Just rework these entirely. The best melee perks Assault could ask for are already in his core selection. Added 2 more perks that affect his range, like damage reduction, ammo economy. I can agree with this. Shuffle core perks for more interesting trade-offs. Definitely agree with this. Change squad cohesion to all squad members. Perfect dodge with the window increased by 20%, and perfect dodges get 20% ability recharge. I could definitely see squad cohesion game like some CDR perk, but CDR perks are pretty OP in this game already. But then again, we already have a pretty OP one with Vanguard Interfire. The increased dodge window would allow Saber to make new perks that are strong alternatives to Wings of Flame, and high skill players get more out of this perk. Change the middle gear tree by getting rid of maneuverability, and Zealous Blow exists because PvE recharge is nerfed. Zealous Blow, yeah, Zealous Blow is already pretty good, but I think it's totally fine to have the PvE recharge be nerfed, because if it wasn't nerfed, it would be fucking broken with how much damage you can do. Replace maneuverability with a perk similar to Hammer of Wrath, but for Jetpack Dash, and move Aerial Grace over so you have 3 important choices. Replace all perks in the remaining tree to focus around your standard dodge. When a perk that generates 1 armor segment on perfect dodges. I don't really think you need this because like Gunstrike perk already does that. A perk that creates a blast that deals damage, staggers, and knocks back enemies on perfect dodge is BOP. If it like does significant damage, it like obviously that'd be a little OP on like a normal perfect dodge. Perfect dodges are very easy to pull off on this class. A perk that after a perfect dodge, melee attacks charge faster for a limited time. That'd be a cool idea. Bake CHP recovery into signature perks. Yeah, I agree with this. Like, or just make them passives, or just fix CHP regen in this game, period. Range damage equals CHP recovery during ample ammunition buff. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Any activation of the Jetpack in conjunction with the Ascension perk, true. Ascension perk would be pretty cool. Change commitment to after performing a melee finisher, melee damage is increased by 20%, as well as CHP recovery for 10 seconds. I mean, they're never going to do that, but it'll be kind of neat. And you gotta be a mobile fortress, a glass cannon, or something in between these changes, and still be weaker than Straven. At times, this class can be better than Straven, for being honest. Only thing I need is a way to get ammo back. True. Block Hammer doesn't do enough damage compared to the other weapon options. Block Hammer does do a lot of damage, but definitely needs more like staggering. How come there seems to be such a disconnect with patches? All these forums and YouTubers, there isn't anyone on the dev team that can simply understand exactly the problem instead of going back and forth. Overall, feels good, but not 100%. Well, first of all, developers have like an overhead, so they have to go through like 4 lines of red tape if they want to do anything in the game. And also, sometimes it does feel like the developers are a little catty about like what the community wants or what people want. Because like it is true that some people's balancing decisions would break the game entirely, or like their balancing suggestions are just like totally OP and they don't understand how the game works. But on the flip side of that, the developers are also really against like having their vision taken over by anybody else's opinions, and they're very stubborn at times. At least that's the impression I get. So like there is a balance to this. Like some people are wrong to like say, oh, we just have like instantaneous recharges for things, or like balance shouldn't matter in a PvE game, because that's obviously nonsense. But for like developers to also be super stubborn, it is kind of irritating in that way too. So, you know, it is a back and forth for sure. 50% contested HP is great. I still don't understand how you just don't radically decrease the cost of a jump pack dodge. Otherwise, it is useless in PvE because you'd almost always rather do a ground pound. This is definitely true. He feels better. Also, drunk FTG stream when? I don't usually drink, but maybe one day. CHP recovery fading later on top of more damage mitigation on top of the plasma gun rework gave him survivability we were waiting for so long. Few minor things left would be the ice on the cake, but the biggest part is addressed. I definitely agree with this. Like the worst part of all of this is just that you're forced to take these new perks because like the damage mitigation and CHP recovery fading later is like it's just 2 perks you have to take if you want to be like survivable, and survivability is the worst part of this class anyways. A few minor things left would be the icing on the cake. Sorry, I read that. Now just a bit of ammo economy for the prestige on range damage from 15 to 20, same as the bulwark and rework of the team perks. Maybe mix the ammo economy and a new team perk. As far as what was I going to say here? As far as having the new changes, like the damage mitigation and the CHP recovery fade would matter less if you had another option in the signature perk tree to give him back actual HP. Because like, let's talk about this for a second. So damage reduction in Space Marine 2 is really fucking strong, and armor regen is really strong. And if you're somebody who wants to build around damage mitigation with armor regen, that is a very powerful option that can actually let you survive in areas that someone that has HP recovery would die in, because they don't actually have the tank ability to just well, is tank ability a word? They don't have the tank potential to just tank an attack and not instantly get nova damaged, and damage mitigation can help with that, and the trade-off should be that you don't get healing. So I feel like they should just have another option for healing as well, like, and maybe put it in the same perk trees as these, and then make you choose between damage mitigation plus healing, or we just put in like a signature perk tree, because you should be able to build for damage on top of like health regen and stuff like that, and then you wouldn't be as tanky like for your actual HP, but you'll get more HP back. I think that would be like a cool trade-off, at least to me. Assault's gameplay is just 90% slower Vanguard without a primary, 10% use of the jump pack, but said use of the jump pack is unsatisfactory. It feels as if it just tacks onto a tactical class without much deeper thought on how to differentiate it from the other class. I don't really agree with this at all. Nerf Assault and buff Straben. True. I think he's good right now, but too reliant on the Power Fist to be top tier. Even though I like the Fist, I want his other weapons to be at the same level. Other than that, he needs some ammo economy on good changes, excuse me. Maybe a little faster charge on the speed of jump pack, but that's not that necessary. Yep, he needs a new signature weapon. Yeah, it is true. He does need a new signature weapon. He's still top tier even without the Power Fist. Power Fist is just broken, though. We're giving Band-Aids. Maybe not S tier, but like he's definitely... Well, okay, he's not a top 3 class, but that's only because the synergy of the top 3 classes of Bulwark, Heavy, and Tactical are just too damn good to give up. If he had better team perks, he would be better, for sure. We're giving Band-Aids to a gunshot wound. Sure, it's little fixes, but the overall issue of him not being sustainable is still prominent. He's definitely sustainable now, and it's not really little fixes. Like, they do all like what happened is they buffed the damage mitigation that perks like Hammer of Wrath, plus CHP recovery is easier, plus the rate of fire plasma pistol is buffed to make it even easier to get back your CHP, period, on top of giving him invulnerability on his ground pound slam to go into like the shields of the sorcerers and stuff like that, and spore mines and be totally fine, on top of things like melee weapons being buffed. So he's actually very powerful and very easy to survive against all the factions in the game currently, even true solo. So like sustainability is really not an issue for him anymore. It's just that you're forced to build like one path to do it. In a better place, but just barely. Anything above Ruthless and Assault just slowly die if they're not hardcore players. I've also seen them get down more regularly in the early rounds of Siege. I mean, anything above Ruthless, he doesn't really just slowly die. It really is just a skill issue at that point. I mean, they say if they're not hardcore players, but like, I mean, what are we considering a hardcore player? Because like at some point, it does fall on the player to like learn the game for a class, and like Assault really isn't that much harder to play than the other classes. I'm gonna be honest, so I don't really agree with this. So we're not going to talk how they stealth double nerfed, or excuse me, stealth double the amount of enemies such bug spawns. Also, enemies deal more damage now. I don't know if they deal more damage, but they definitely up the amount of enemies. I think that's fine because the enemies were way too little in Absolute before. I can play my favorite class again, Fencing Chainsword Assault. True. Fencing Chainsword is actually pretty damn good now. I think if you're running optimal perks, he's in a good spot right now. It'll be even better once they add new Chaos Enemy, but I do feel like you're forced to run a very specific perk, but the game in general has a build diversity issue, not just Assault. 100% agree with this combat Wendigo. Better, but still suffering with Chaos Ammo and inevitable death in Siege. I don't really agree with this. I just don't understand why Assault is so gimped compared to Space Marine 1. It just doesn't feel good to play. I think it definitely feels good to play now. That's just my personal opinion. Auxiliary reload when true Jefficus. Good. All right, Penguins has made his statement known. Find myself dying more to the map and its invisible walls collisions than anything else. Fist damage is insane. Did the Hive Tyrant's HP get dropped again, or is it just the damage now? It is just the damage now. They buffed all the melee weapons. Now the damage is stupid. And Hive Tyrant's always kind of been a bum. It's a little better, but still struggles with CHP and ammo in the hardest difficulties. Doesn't really struggle with CHP that much at all, but like ammo definitely. Pretty peak, amazing. I tried out the balance and block power sword for Assault after the 9.0 patch. Ground pounded a single Tyranid bone sword warrior. The dude cross sword blocked my ground pound. This needs to fucking go. Like I 100% agree with getting frustrated by this. Like them blocking your fucking ground pound is the dumbest shit in this game. There are like 0 other perks in the game or class abilities that are interrupted by like one sword warrior just putting out their little hand. It's very stupid. I don't know why they do this. Like maybe like the signature ability on the Iron Halo will have this happen for like the damage over time, but the sword warriors are on crack, and I think their little like block needs to be nerfed, at least against like range weapons and stuff like that, or like maybe like plasma, or what else is it, like round pounds and stuff like that. It's just stupid how much damage reduction they get. I don't know if they've ever been able to do that before. In my extensive use of Assault Power Sword for the patch, it's never happened to me. Hopefully it's just a bug, but I was 4 when I saw it happen. No, it's not a bug. It's just what happens. Strong. A decent step in the right direction, but an extremely boring one. Flat damage increase as decrease might be reasonably effective, but something like extra armor after ground pound or after a successful heavy attack with cooldown would be more enjoyable ways to decrease the damage taken. Also, it's nice to fix some of those contested health problems, but to be honest, contested health needs to rework to begin with, especially for melee. 100% true. Safe, but boring update. I actually like this update a lot. I don't know if I would call it boring. Way more build options than ever, to be honest. Unless you just talk about the Assault class. Just give us the same abilities as the suit. Wait, it's the same abilities as Assault has in PvP. I imagine you just got auto-corrected here, and then people stop complaining. It's not that hard, Saber. We just want to have fun with the jump pack. Well, the jump pack would be fucking broken if it was like PvP. It still feels like everything Assault's supposed to excel at. Bulwark can do better. Not mobility at all. And Bulwark can get like frame trapped and locked where like Assault won't at times because he doesn't have a jump pack. Everyone wants to make the Assault more survivable, but that's kind of contrary to its existence. If you were building a team to survive an Assault on a fortress, you wouldn't pick an offensive Space Marine. You would pick the defensive ones. Assault slaughters in operations and in PvP, but hurts in siege mode. That's how it should be, in my opinion. I think it's kind of a dumb take because like this is a video game and you don't want like one of your 6 classes to just underperform because you're like, oh man, it's just a class identity is being shit at this. I don't really think that's how it should be. They should all fit they should all function on the difficulties and content in the game because it's a video game. Can we talk about the PvP? Do you like it? I tried it. I think it's awful. Shielded guys that can't be hurt. Iron Halo guys that can't be hurt. Assault guys killing you in one shot with 2 charges available. Terrible experience. Own matchmaking is awful too. I mean, I've played the PvP a bit. I like it. I just don't think I think it's very bare bones. I wouldn't really touch it that much at all, to be honest. I've stopped caring for the game and just discovered Remnant games. They're both leagues above Space Marine 2. Main difference, there's no finishers or blocks, and world doesn't try to look as spectacular. All right, very, very interesting. I'm glad you're enjoying the Remnant games. No idea how anyone can stand to play Siege as anything that doesn't nullify range damage in some way. I swear there's no way the devs actually play on the higher settings when it comes to how much damage all range attacks do in this game. 3 Carnifexes is becoming hunchbacks of Notre Dame to backshot you is just torture, and Rocket Pod channel from Terminators is pure cringe. Rocket Pods are actually super easy to dodge from Terminators for like 2 patches now. They used to fire out 3 and they were super accurate, but they're very easy to dodge. As far as the Carnifexes becoming hunchbacks, yeah, these guys are on fucking crack this patch. I don't know if it's a bug, but like their pinpoint accuracy and like perfect mortar accuracy is fucking ridiculous. They are so annoying to fight. I honestly hate these guys, so I definitely agree with this. I play only operations mode. In my opinion, Siege is boring as fuck, giving breaks until new relevant content arrives. I think this guy posted on the wrong post. Hammer is dead. Sword is more effective, and Power Fist is is S tier, but the move set is awful. Hammer's definitely good. It's not dead by any means. Sword is definitely not more effective than hammer for certain things. Need to fix block weapons. They all need to be either 4 speed minimum or make it so when you reach 2 stacks of unsurge, the speed of your weapon is increased until you use those stacks. As they are now, with literally 1 speed point for them, unless we talk the combat knife, there's almost no point using them because of how slow they are and how reliant blocking weapons are on speed, just using our main mechanic. If you build those stacks up, they are too slow to swing your weapons to use them before enemies either knock you back or pepper your health down. Then people are just going to forgo it entirely, use easier, more effective gun strikes, and bring back the fencing meta that the game had when it started. I get they want to have specific play styles with these weapons types, but come on now. Play styles with weapon types. Okay. As far as like block weapon speed goes, they're all usable. Like Power Sword is the only one that can actually get like frame trapped by, or I should say that they'll be able to have like some of the lictors will do their dash and get like stupid damage reduction. You can't hit them, but you know, I've used 1 speed chain sword, power sword, thunder hammer. I've used all the block weapons now. They're all fine. Like they all work. They all do stupid damage. It's really not as bad of a problem as people think. They're definitely gonna get buffed. They already mentioned that's a problem, and they want to buff their speed. So they're only gonna get better from here, but like they're by no means unusable right now. They're very strong. Better but not great. It's perfect for the general audience, but at the level you play at, he comes up short. I don't think he comes up short at all. I think he's very good right now. He can definitely be better, but at least he's getting wins finally. What's he saying here? He's OP. I have no idea. Why does contested health have to suck? Because Saber really wants ranged weapons to be the best contested health recovery in this game for some reason, and melee has like a damage cap or like a CHP cap for like no apparent reason. Anyways, guys, those are all the comments you guys gave. I do agree with a lot of your takes here. I definitely agree that like having some kind of health recovery would be neat for like more build options. Overall, the assault class is in a pretty good spot right now, in my opinion, and I do think that like maybe 3 jump pack charges to be a little OP. A lot of people want that, but like 2 with better CDR would be a far better way to do it, and having some of the CDR perks be more interesting would be pretty neat. But anyways, thank you to everybody who commented. Hopefully, we had a good conversation here, and a lot of people have brought some interesting ideas. Let me know your things in the let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching, guys, and thank you for listening this far into the video. Take it easy. Bye.